Have you ever got home from work or school and just wanted to relax and unwind? Well, for many, video games are how they forget about the stress from everyday life. Video games have become very popular in the last few years. It has become a multi-billion-dollar industry. 2020 was one of the best years for the video game industry due to billions of potential customers being locked inside without anything to do. In 2020, the video game industry was valued at $60.4 billion. Every day, millions of people play video games throughout the world, even more so during this pandemic. I am one of those millions of people, and so are many of my friends. Today I will show you why. When the world doesn't have a pandemic, many people used video games to play for fun, to hang out with friends, or to escape from reality stress. Mr. Wong has been using video games to reduce stress from the work week.
There have been some stressful things about the pandemic and kind of the way the year has gone. I will say I have had jobs in the past that were stressful, and like it actually was something where, I'd get home and I'd be like, okay, I just want to kind of like maybe relax and like play a game or NBA 2K, which I think it was sort of helpful. I'm not sure if it was always such a good thing, but it was like I just needed something to kind of take my mind off of like things that had been happening that like were very stressful during the day, or it was kind of like, okay, thank goodness I've made it to like Friday or the weekend, and then I would just like kind of play a game because I was like, all right, I just need to kind of put the week aside.
To reduce the stress from the work week, many people use gaming to help themselves relax and unwind. As Austin from psu.edu once said, many video games help people to relax in the same way well-written novels do. By providing a world with believable characters, a gripping story, and an interesting setting, both video games and novels attempt to immerse the reader/players in the story, allowing them to temporarily forget the troubles barring their lives on a daily basis. However, unlike a story, video games actually bring to life the world the creators had envisioned, and place you, the player, in the middle of it. As Austin just said, video games are basically interactive novels where you have an influence on the story. Video games can pull someone's focus towards them, which doesn't leave much room for the brain to think about stress from everyday
I
life.
think reducing stress and anxiety. I think there's also an element of that there as well. So it's just it's another way to unwind. I mean, I think some people may like watching TV or movies. For other people, I think it could be video games. I think sometimes people need or want a way to just sort of escape from reality, and I think something like games or could be movies or just I don't know, whatever, sports. I mean, I think we all like to have diversions to kind of just forget about whatever's happening, if there are stressful things happening in our lives, whether it's through like school or work or whatever, and just kind of like spend some time kind of escaping that.
As Mr. Wong just said, there are many ways to relax and unwind, such as sports, TV, or movies. But more recently, video games have become the go-to for relaxation for the younger generation. Mr. Wong mentioned that we all like to have a divergence to forget about whatever is happening in our lives. I fully agree with this. Personally, after school, to unwind, I usually go watch my current TV show, which is currently WandaVision, or I will go play some video games with my friends. During COVID, with people at home, tons of people have been stuck inside with nothing to do. So they began playing video games. They play video games for fun, to hang out with friends, or especially to escape from reality stress and depression. Examples of this are that some of my family members haven't played video games ever since Crash Bandicoot 2 on the PlayStation 2 came out like a couple years ago, back in like '05. Have begun playing new games on the Nintendo Switch, such as Animal Crossing, ever since quarantine began. During the lockdown, many people have decided to use video games as their way to contact and hang out with their friends. My friend group and I are those people. Ever since March 13th, 2020, when lockdown began for us, we've been playing video games almost every day for around 2 to 4 hours, sometimes more. But 99% of the time, we are usually playing together. The Minecraft gameplay in the background you've seen throughout this video is on a world we started back on December 11th, 2020. Some people like Avery from theitchin.org agree that video games allow a social life with friends, but he goes further. He says, furthermore, there is evidence that games like Animal Crossing bring about positive mental health benefits. The game relies heavily on virtual social interaction with NPCs and real-life friends, an internal clock that matches up with the real-world time, and season progression and daily goals and challenges. All of these integral gameplay elements work together to develop a sense of ritual and structure for the player. Maintaining a daily routine can improve mental health and lower stress levels. And in a time as uncertain as this one, even a virtual routine can be helpful. As Avery just stated, he thinks video games provide a schedule with daily goals and challenges, which I fully agree with. Whenever I play video games like Minecraft or Destiny, I try to set a goal of what I want to achieve during my playtime that day. Now, some people may think that video games will rot your brain and they make you antisocial. Certain video games can build stress if there is a level you can't get past and people get angry, such as in Crash Bandicoot if you get stuck. People could just be using video games to have fun. And here is my rebuttal. The purpose of video games is to provide an escape from reality using immersion, as well as enjoyment and control of their environment. Like reading, it is only meant to be a distraction, not a solution to the problems in life. While some may argue video games are bad for your health, what they fail to consider is that video games may actually have some good benefits, such as reducing stress. While I agree that video games can be unhealthy if played all the time 24/7, I think that Austin from psu.edu put it in the best way when he said, many forms of escape, including reading and alcohol, excessive use can become unhealthy. Moderated video gaming is a healthy way to keep your stress levels down and your adventurous side satisfied. Another benefit to playing video games is that when you play with your friends, the games become 100 times better than when alone. But obviously playing alone can be fun too, especially when playing games like Red Dead Redemption 2, which is one of the best games I have ever played.
And I think, sometimes like games get a little bit of a, um, I'll say maybe a bad reputation as being, kind of antisocial, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. And that, um, a lot of the games are very popular. They're multiplayer games. Granted, sometimes you're playing people that could be complete strangers, but then sometimes you may be playing, on a team with your friends, or you may be playing against your friends, but you're kind of like maybe chatting with them at the same time. Either like text chatting or actually voice chatting, whatever. So I can see how they can be very social.
The bad reputation video games get is from the 80s and the 90s when video games weren't mainstream yet. So all the people that did play video games had one or two people that they knew that also played video games. This meant that they were seen as the nerd in the school, so the culture at the time saw them as antisocial, and they stuck to their small friends group because of that. Now in 2021, most of the students in the school play video games, whether it be on their phone, their Xbox, their PlayStation, or their PC. Gaming has been ingrained into our mainstream culture in recent years, starting with Modern Warfare 2 back in 2009 and coming to a breaking point in 2018 when Fortnite took the world by storm. Now that we know about video games as an escape, will you start using them?